Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're looking at something deeply unsettling, a case that literally forces us to completely re-examine the very rules we rely on to protect ourselves. We're exploring the dark reality behind the Grace Millane case. It's a story that strips away the comfort of our daily routines and exposes the hidden dangers that can lurk right there in plain sight.
So, how safe are you in public? I want you to really think about that for a second. How safe are you right now? Or say the last time you were out? You're surrounded by people. You're in a well-lit, busy area. You feel this natural, almost instinctual shield of security. But what if that shield is entirely in your head? What if the presence of others doesn't actually stop a predator, but simply changes their timeline?
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. A fatal Tinder date.
We're looking at what began as an incredibly standard, seemingly ordinary evening out. It's a modern dating ritual that millions of us participate in every single day around the globe. It's a scenario that's so common, so routine, that the very idea of danger seems entirely out of place. But the stark premise we're analyzing today is pulled directly from our documentary source material, Woman Doesn't Realize Her Tinder Date is a Killer. Man, those 9 words completely flip our understanding of a normal social interaction, right? It highlights this terrifying gap between what we perceive and the grim reality sitting right across the table from us.
Let's track the evening's progression here. Look at how textbook this is. Phase 1, Grace leaves her hostel. It's a completely standard starting point for any traveler out to explore. Phase 2, she arrives at a popular spot. And Phase 3, she meets Jesse Kempson for the very first time. Notice how entirely normal this flow is. There are 0 obvious red flags here. Every step Grace took was totally rational. This is exactly how you're taught to handle a first date.
Which brings us to Section 2, the illusion of safety.
And this brilliantly illustrates a crucial psychological concept. Why do we feel protected when we're simply surrounded by strangers? Strangers who are living their own lives, drinking their own drinks, and who honestly aren't paying any attention to us. Well, this shows exactly why Grace's location felt so incredibly secure. It was a highly popular spot. There are plenty of people around. And meeting in a public place isn't just a suggestion, right? It's the absolute golden rule of modern dating. You do this to ensure your survival. You do it to feel safe. We surround ourselves with witnesses to deter anyone with bad intentions.
But then we hit Section 3, the predator's patience.
What if the danger actually isn't deterred by the crowd at all? What if the danger is simply patient? What's honestly terrifying here is the stark contrast. On one side, we have Grace's perfectly logical perspective, feeling safe in a popular spot. But on the other side, the chilling, hidden reality of the situation, a false sense of security. The crowded environment didn't change the predator's ultimate intent. It just created a facade.
Listen carefully to this calculated reality, stated directly from our source material. Jesse has no plans to try anything untoward in public. He's going to wait until they're alone. That is the cold, hard truth of this encounter. The public setting wasn't a deterrent at all. It was just a waiting room. The killer was perfectly willing to play the part of a normal date, simply waiting for that inevitable moment when the crowd disappeared.
Let's move to Section 4, Educational True Crime Media, and see how this builds.
Let's look at the broader context of why we even consume these dark stories in the first place. How does true crime media frame these horrifying, real-world realities for all of us? Well, the creators behind the source documentary have a very specific rationale for publishing material like this. Their goal is to provide genuine footage for educational purposes. They aim to promote transparency in government by showing exactly how these incidents unfold and are handled. And crucially, it allows viewers like you and me to examine and assess public safety material for ourselves. Because understanding the reality of these situations is absolutely vital for our own awareness.
The creators make their intent super clear here. This is a fact-checked documentary using authoritative sources to support public awareness. The whole point is to transform a tragic, closed police file into a factual, cautionary tool for society. It's about taking the unimaginable and dissecting it so that the public can actually learn from it.
And there's a very specific legal framework that allows this type of journalism to happen. It's Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act, widely known as the Fair Use Doctrine. Basically, this is the law that permits lawfully obtained public records, body cam footage, and police reports to be utilized strictly for journalistic, documentary, and educational purposes. It's literally the legal bridge between a closed, confidential investigation and vital public knowledge in the digital age. However, to maintain strict objectivity and adhere to the law, our source provides a critical disclaimer that we absolutely must acknowledge.
Individuals shown are legally presumed innocent unless proven otherwise in a court of law. This is a fundamental pillar of our legal system. Even when a documentary relies on verified, credible sources to analyze factual public safety material, that presumption of innocence remains firmly in place until a final verdict is reached.
So what does this all mean? The crucial point we're left with is this. We've seen how perfectly standard safety protocols were followed. We've seen how the environment provided a deep, reassuring sense of comfort. But when the predator is simply waiting in the crowd, patiently blending in with the background noise of a busy restaurant or bar, is the safety of a public date just an illusion? It's a chilling question for sure, and it's one that forces us to completely rethink how we navigate the modern world.